storyteller is BenAmots, an incredible painter. She's published one book, she's working on another one, and she'll soon have another show. Laura, would you come up, please?
And I want to quickly point out these are Laura's works that we're seeing back.
Yes!
I'm very, very nervous. Okay. I want to thank my friend Walt for helping me figure out what story to tell, and thank my sons for being here in Milan. When trying to figure out what kind of story I was telling you, I realized that it is more an exploration of childhood, memory, and the phenomenon of community. And so, with the exception of a few visceral rememberings along the way, everything before Israel is a blur. I can remember feeling the cold metal of bars in Central Park against my forearm when I was 4. I can remember feeling the bite of hail against naked legs when I was 6. I can remember the feel of a faux camel hair coat when I was around 6.5. But everything else is just a narrated slideshow told by my parents. Then we moved to Israel. The ship was amazing, and all of this is a foreword to the actual story, which is the only complete narrative that my childhood holds. So I'm not yet at the story, I'm at the preface. The ship was the last sailing of the Queen Anna Maria, which was a Greek ocean liner. And as I recall her, she was washed in white light. We had a room down in the bottommost floor with no windows. And I do remember 2 vivid moments. One, there was a square pool on the deck, and I remember holding the ladder and my body swaying in the sympathetic waves within the pool in sympathy to the ocean. And I remember seeing this school of large things leaping out of the water, which I remember proclaiming were leaping sharks, until I was corrected and told they were dolphins. Then we arrived in the port city of Haifa, and in Haifa we spent a period of time with my parents, I'm sure wondering what they had done, and with myself moving along with them from immigration center to immigration center. Just as an aside, Haifa was the place of my first grade love. If you don't count kindergarten, when there was a round little kind boy named Paul who gave me a yellow paper heart. If you don't count him, my first great love was this magnificent Brazilian doctor. I'm sorry, boys, but I have to tell about him. I was just a little girl, obviously, and I had broken my finger. It was late at night, and my parents traveled the city of Haifa looking for a doctor that wasn't located at the hospital that nobody who knows better goes to. so we finally found a clinic in the Carmel, which is at the peak of the city, and there was my dark, wild-haired Brazilian doctor who insisted the nurse stay after hours to stitch me up and save my life. I love him. Finally, we left Haifa, and my parents moved us to the city of Ein Hod, the city that would become the anchor of my entire life. Now, an aside description of my family. My father was, still is, perhaps a little crazier than he was then, but still pretty close. A charismatic composer and jazz musician whom everybody loved for his unbridled love of life. My mother had the beauty of an Italian actress, which was tempered by her short temper, which was quite extreme. And despite that temper, she was the strength of the family and kept us all probably together through many adventures. And then there was my sister, who is beautiful, intelligent, angular, and she has a chronic illness, and so she was the constant focus of great concern throughout our lives and continues to be so. So that's my family, but back to Ein Hod. Ein Hod was nestled in the Carmel Mountains in this jumble of rocky homes, and as you stood in Ein Hod, you looked down into a sweeping valley that led to the Mediterranean Sea. In between the, sorry, that was loud breath. I'm not used to microphone. So, in between the Mediterranean Sea and the village of Ein Hod, there were many varied layers of texture. I can remember the aroma of walking up the hill towards Ein Hod so strongly, so beautifully, and the rocky textures of the greens and browns and golds. Ein Hod was an artist village, and it was silent with the exception of the post truck that came every morning, and the bread truck that came twice a week with fresh hot bread. And at those times, the center of the village would fill with its inhabitants, even then, very quietly. It was a sleepy place. Now my story. Memory number one, there are three. It was my parents' anniversary. My sister and I had decided we would throw them a surprise party. And so somehow we got the message to every inhabitant of the village. At the time we lived in a house that was at the far edge of a winding road that started with a partially hinged gate and ended on our rocky steps, a home of scorpions and snakes and amazing childhood freedom and memories. We got the message out. To our amazement, our parents were truly surprised. We had emptied out the largest room in the house, which was the studio, and piled all the furniture against the back wall. To everyone else, I'm sure it looked like a jumble of junk, but to us it was the set for the emperor's new clothes, Bigdei HaMelech, which we produced to the entire village and to great applause. It was a great night. Every person brought an original piece of artwork for our parents, and it is one of my 3 complete memories. The next memory, we got sick. I don't remember who got sick first. Perhaps it was the high fever. I do remember that our doctor was one of the painter's husbands who was a physician, and I later learned that it was typhoid fever. We all found ourselves, the 4 of us, in one bed. The village was mortified. They were afraid that the entire village would be closed down, the water sources closed off, and everybody quarantined. And so they vowed a vow of silence. Between whispers and chicken soup and very strong meditations, we were healed without anybody outside the village ever finding out. That is my second memory of the village coming together. After the cat was found in the water tank, my parents decided that the family dream house was perhaps not forever. And so they moved us to a cement block-like modern loft. My father decided we needed a waterbed. If I remember correctly, my father constructed the frame in the center of the first floor with his friends, and there it stood awaiting the mattress. Finally, the box came, and with it, the entire village. Everybody converged on our loft, and we unpacked the box with the waterbed mattress. We all gathered in that room and filled it slowly. Of course, there were negotiations and discussions of strategies, how to best fill it, how to best make sure it not spill, how all of this was negotiated by all the members of the village. I should say that these years were still rather early years for me. The anniversary party was at age 9, and these stories all sort of jumble in around those years of my life. We filled the mattress. Then, after a huge negotiation as to how to plug the hole was plugged. It was decided that the lightest person in the village should try the mattress first. Whether that was my sister or not, I'm not sure, but she was among the first. And so it went, family at a time, from the lightest member of each family, adding incrementally the heaviest, that each family in the village got to try the waterbed. That was another great day. Those are my stories, and that is the heart of my childhood.